We know the weather forecast for tomorrow is at catastrophic levels. And based on that, plus the conditions we've experienced in the last few days, I've accepted the advice of Commissioner Fitzsimmons and declared a state of emergency across New South Wales. This means that Commissioner Fitzsimmons has authority to undertake whatever he needs to do, whatever decision he needs to take to ensure that we protect life and property as much as possible tomorrow. I want to assure the people of New South Wales that this is a precautionary stance. This is to make sure that we leave no stone unturned to keep our community safe tomorrow. I want to thank the heads of all the agencies for their cooperation and support. Everybody is fully supportive of this decision. Everybody is fully on board with what needs to happen. We want to ensure that the lines of authority are clear tomorrow. We also want to ensure that we're doing everything we can to keep life and property safe. The last time there was a state of emergency declared was in 2013, when we saw extensive bushfires throughout the Blue Mountains and other regions. And again, on this occasion, we're taking every precaution. Again, I want to thank the heads of all of our agencies, and we've made sure that we have a whole of government approach to the way we're dealing with what we intend to be, or what we assume to be, catastrophic conditions tomorrow. We also know, for example, we need to issue warnings to people that live in and around bushland. We also need to ensure that whether it's parents who need advice about schools, or whether it's health officials who need advice about where to accommodate all of the things that could happen tomorrow are taking place. This is an important step, but a critical step, and one, again, which we don't take lightly, but which we take as a precautionary matter. I also want to assure the community that Commissioner Fitzsimmons and all of our agencies have authority to undertake and utilise any resource they need. I've said to them as the Premier, you do what you need to do, and we'll sort out the details later. Tomorrow is about protecting life, protecting property, and ensuring everybody is safe as possible. But we also ask the community to do their bit. Please do not ignore the messages you receive about your community. Please do not ignore the messages you hear and receive from our authorities. If you're told to evacuate, please do so. If you're told to take certain actions, please do so. And for heaven's sake, stay away from bushland tomorrow. The catastrophic weather conditions mean that things can change very quickly. You might think you're okay, and a few minutes later you won't be. Please heed all the messages you receive. Please act in a cautionary way, and please do not be complacent. Tomorrow is not the day to be complacent. We're doing everything we can to protect life and property. We also need the community to do their bit, and I want to thank everybody, including people in this room, for getting out that message, because we need the messages to be clear, concise, succinct, so that people can respond to them. And I want to thank all the volunteers, all our agencies, but also the community for what you're doing as well, as we face what are unprecedented and catastrophic conditions tomorrow.
Thanks, Premier. Just to reiterate what the Premier said, last night I spoke to and communicated with every commissioner of all of our state combat agencies, and it was their unilateral advice, the unanimous advice, that we declare a state of emergency for 7 days starting today. This is a tool that governments very, very rarely use, but it is a tool that is necessary. The people of New South Wales have the right to know that we as a government will be providing every financial and operational level of support to the Rural Fire Service to get us through what potentially could be the most dangerous bushfire week this nation has ever seen. We are hoping, of course, but that is why we have tools like a state of emergency available to us to ensure that there is no legal barrier, there are no operational barriers to ensure that the people of the Rural Fire Service do what they're meant to do. Can I also thank the 1,300 firefighters that are on the fire line right now. The Commissioner will no doubt talk about the fatigue and the challenges facing them, but of course we are being ably supported by interstate agencies, the other combat agencies, and we will not rest until we've made sure that the people of New South Wales have got through this safely. I'll now hand over to Commissioner Fitzsimmons.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Premier. As we speak, we continue to have more than 60 fires burning across New South Wales. More than half of them remain uncontained. 10 of them are at the Watch and Act alert level, and given what we saw yesterday and the expected weather conditions again today, we can expect to see the alert levels increase on a number of these fires up in northern New South Wales. The conditions are still extremely dry, the fire behaviour is still quite volatile, and there are still lots of communities in the northeast of the state that remain at risk today. Watch and Act is there for a reason. It is to ensure that people remain vigilant, they remain ready to act in accordance with their plan and any advice that they might receive, because conditions could change and could change easily throughout today. As the Premier and the Minister indicated, not only are we dealing with an extraordinary amount of fires in northeastern New South Wales and elsewhere, tomorrow we are facing some horrendous conditions. Not only have we got the catastrophic fire danger ratings being identified in the forecast for the Greater Sydney environment and the Greater Hunter region, we've got to keep in mind that right across a much broader geographic area, we will continue to have severe and widespread extreme fire danger ratings extending from the northern border of our state up around the New England, the Northern Tablelands, the Northern Rivers area, right down through the mid-coast, out through the central west areas of New South Wales, down across the Greater Sydney environment and through to the Illawarra and Shoalhaven. That is absolutely risky enough, notwithstanding the amount of fire that we're already dealing with. Under catastrophic conditions, the safest thing you can do is not be in an at-risk area. Catastrophic conditions, the focus is principally and foremost on life safety. Life is at risk when it comes to catastrophic conditions, and as we've said for decades now, we cannot guarantee a fire truck at every home. We cannot guarantee an aircraft will be overhead every time a fire is impacting on your property. We cannot guarantee that someone will knock on the door and give you a warning that there's fires nearby. And we certainly cannot guarantee that despite our best efforts, the technological tools available will deliver you a message in time. If fires start and take hold, they can be burning and impacting on people's homes, people's property, before we even get a 000 call, let alone getting a fire appliance or an aircraft to start dealing with that fire. The risk is absolutely real, and as the Premier and the Minister said, not being in fire-prone areas, not being in bushland areas is absolutely our highest focus message. Preparing yourself now, making decisions, having conversation with your loved ones about what you're going to do and where you're going to be if you're in a catastrophic area tomorrow is absolutely critical. I've spoken to some people already who have made the decision that tonight they're going to leave home because they don't feel prepared, they don't feel safe, and they're going to go and stay with family and loved ones somewhere else where they know they're not in a bushfire-prone area. That's the sort of thing we need people to be thinking about, and if you're not doing that decision tonight, then you certainly need to be doing it early tomorrow morning. In recognition of the extraordinary challenges that are being faced, the current fire activity, we know the fires on the North Coast are not going to be contained ahead of tomorrow's weather, which means those fires are going to spread, they're going to spread quickly, and they're going to spread aggressively. The risk is real to pretty much any communities in and around the proximity of all those fires burning on the north areas of New South Wales, particularly given the forecast of hot temperatures, dry winds dominating out of the west or northwesterly areas. You can pretty much guarantee anybody to the east or southeast as a predominant pattern will certainly be at risk and potential risk of these fires in the North Coast tomorrow. We've also got fires that are burning closer to Sydney and in the lower Hunter area. We've got a fairly large fire burning north of the Hawkesbury region, the back end of the Lithgow area there. That's been burning up there. That fire has the potential to grow tomorrow under these sorts of conditions and eventually move through to places like the Hawkesbury and even the Central Coast. We've got the other fire that we saw only days ago that burnt in the Blue Mountains, and whilst it's contained and being patrolled, it only takes one ember to blow out of that fire near, I think it was Woodford, that we had only a couple of days ago. It will only take one ember to blow out of that burnt out area into unburnt ground and be off and running. The susceptibility of ignition in our vegetation, because it is so dry, cannot be overstated. We've seen the fire behaviour over the recent weeks and months, and particularly the intensity of what happened at the end of last week, and particularly Friday across northern New South Wales. Under severe conditions, you would expect spotting activity traditionally to be up around 4 kilometres ahead of the main fire front. Extreme conditions, you might get that up to 6 kilometres or so ahead of the main fire front. We've been experiencing over the last couple of weeks 6, 10, 12 kilometres spotting activity and multiple spots, multiple ignitions occurring ahead of the main fire front. the flammability of the fuels, because of the lack of moisture, is highly volatile. Fires are starting extremely quickly, easily, and spreading very, very quickly. The risk is real, and the forward spread of those fires is exacerbated by the dryness of that fuel and the ready taking of embers ahead of the main fire front. We are increasing our capacity, notwithstanding the extraordinary commitment that's been undertaken over weeks and months now. Literally thousands and thousands of men and women from all our agencies, from all our arms of government, from the frontline firefighters to the police and emergency services, and those critical personnel that provide the functional support of government: animal ag services, telecommunications, power and infrastructure, transport, defence services. We are all working shoulder to shoulder, working around the clock 24 hours a day. We're growing that number as we head into the prospects of tomorrow. We're bringing in additional interstate people. We've already had over 1,400 interstate personnel helping out in New South Wales over the recent weeks. We've got another 400 flying in and driving in today ahead of the conditions tomorrow. Our colleagues from Victoria are sending in more than 50 additional fire trucks, which will be pre-positioned in areas like Goulburn and in the Hunter, ready for rapid deployment and the bolstering of the local firefighting effort in the identification of any new fires or any new outbreaks. We will routinely and necessarily stand up additional fire appliances and firefighters right throughout the Greater Sydney region with fire and rescue and RFS and national parks and forestry firefighting capability being optimised in the locations most at risk, without detracting from the ongoing firefighting effort up in northern New South Wales. We've also identified and brought on our third large air tanker over the weekend. It's now up and operational and available for deployment. So that'll have 3 here in New South Wales at the moment. We've got the dedicated one that the government invested in and purchased early in the year, and we've got 2 leased machines now that will be operating here in New South Wales, and we've got more coming as we head into the peak of season, as we head into summer. We are pleading and calling on the very generous employers out there that have been with us now for weeks and months. Tomorrow, as you've heard, not only have we got this extraordinary firefighting effort continuing, but we've got a profound risk across such a broad geographic area. And I would call on all our employers, particularly our volunteers, whether they're in the Rural Fire Service, the emergency services, or indeed our retained firefighters that rely on the generosity of their employers to give them time away from work. We will be wanting as many firefighters available and on standby tomorrow as possible, right throughout areas that haven't actually got fires yet, but we need them there so they can respond as quickly as they can and get to people and get to fires as quickly as they can. So that generosity that you've given so long now will be very much appreciated and called on again tomorrow. I would also just add that we will do our very best. Whilst we cannot guarantee so many things, what I can guarantee in concert with my colleagues from all the police and emergency services and the broader government entities, we will not stop in our endeavours to do the very best we can. We will ensure to the best of our ability that fires are dealt with, that messaging is sent out, that advice is being delivered. We will partner with our media right across the state to ensure timely and accurate messages because we have never been better resourced, we have never been better funded, and we have never been better integrated and coordinated as a state fire and emergency body than what you are seeing here today and you've seen working here in New South Wales over the previous weeks. I am confident that we've got the very best arrangements in place to deal with what we haven't seen before here in New South Wales, with catastrophic conditions being forecast across Sydney, the Illawarra, and an extraordinary ongoing firefighting effort in northeastern New South Wales.